All right. Thank you, Detroit City Council, for taking the time to review this video on fire prevention here in the beautiful city of Detroit, Michigan. Quick introduction for myself. My name is Edward Gelsomino. I am not a firefighter, nor do I plan on becoming a firefighter in the near future. However, I am a health and safety professional. I have 8 years of experience in construction in the energy sector, mostly in the wind turbine sector. We did a lot of high voltage switching, which has its own unique fire safety challenges. The video topics that we're going to discuss here are the 3 E's: education, enforcement, and engineering. We'll talk about how code is enforced here in Detroit. We'll talk about how code is applied to new and existing structures. We'll talk about fire resistance of materials and the organizations that determine the resistance of those materials. We'll talk about our biggest hazards for conflagration and fire spread, and then we'll talk about how important it is to have a good plan and have a safer Detroit. So we'll start with the 3 E's: education, enforcement, and engineering. Starting with education, this is how we teach people about preventing fires. This E is essential for creating public awareness of hazards and gives the public the ability to spot potential hazards moving forward. Here in Detroit, how we do this is through our mobile fire safety house, which aims to educate children, and our DFD safety series, which is an online webinar series aimed at helping residents of the city prevent fires. Some more examples of education opportunities that we could use. We could create more community workshops. I've found that in my practice that real-time experience and hands-on training is the best way to bridge a gap between knowing and not knowing how to safely work with certain materials, especially electrical safety. And we could also implement some type of fire education in our local schools, right? Starting when they're young, teaching children how to be safe at home, again, especially with electrical safety, goes a long way. The second E, engineering. This is how we prevent fires via design and technology. This E is implemented to protect buildings with systems and materials used in the construction process mostly. Planning is how we utilize engineering by creating the safest environment possible for new and existing buildings by meeting our fire codes and standards, which we'll talk about here shortly. Other ways to implement engineering are via technology, like improved fire alarm systems, improved sprinkler systems, and energy and heat efficiency applications like dryers, stoves, and ovens. They all come with these features nowadays. Then the final E, which is enforcement, is done through the use of inspection and investigation. Compliance officers ensure that buildings are following fire prevention codes and standards and implementing punishments for failing to meet those codes and standards. Right? And that's what we're going to talk about now, is enforcement. This is all handled by DFD's Fire Marshal Division. This division is responsible for annual fire inspections, issuing permits, reviewing plans for new and modified fire safety systems, and they also have the authority to close businesses and issue citations for code violations. How we apply that fire code through the Fire Marshal Division is we reference state, federal, and international fire codes in our codes. We reference all 3 of these. This is all in the part of plan review, issuing permits, and doing inspections. Some requirements that we have here in the city are to ensure all exit doors are clear and accessible, ensuring alarms are functioning properly, maintaining proper placement of extinguishers, ensuring electrical outlets are not supplying too many devices, and ensuring proper storage of flammable materials. There are scenarios where builders or owners may request variances to these permits or to these codes, which are evaluated on a case-by-case basis. The organizations that test for fire resistance are organizations like ASTM, which is the American Society for Testing and Materials, and NFPA, the National Fire Protection Agency. They'll conduct these tests. These tests range from surface burns to fire endurance to see how long buildings will hold up. The biggest hazards to us for conflagration and fire spread are environmental factors. Environmental factors include wind speed and direction, nearby vegetation, and the vegetation density, and then the moisture level that's nearby. The lower that moisture level gets, the easier things will burn. The hazards we need to control for would be the heat corner of our fire triangle, the fire triangle being fuel, oxygen, and heat. So we're controlling for that third leg of the fire triangle. We want to avoid direct contact with flames, especially when we're doing hot work. We want to control embers if we're creating them. And then we want to be able to identify any radiant heat. Weak spots that we may have here in the city is proximity. Right? If we're doing buildings or renovations, we're usually close to other structures. We have aging infrastructure here in Detroit. Some of our buildings are from the 1800s. They were erected in the 1800s. And a lack of a fire mitigation plan or equipment and some of those materials that we talked about could be an issue as well. Okay, plan review. This is how we improve safety. So with the Fire Marshal's Division, when we're building something here in the city, we want to encourage builders and owners to ask questions and be sure that the structures they're working on and the materials they're working with are safe for themselves and everyone else in the city. Again, just having open communication goes a long way. And if you don't know, we want to encourage these people to ask the questions that will keep them, their workers, and the people around them safe. Thank you for your time. I hope I've provided at least a small foundation for council members to be prepared if any of these issues come across your desk. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.